Yeah,
session.
yeah, I'm recording. Yeah,
Sritiyaka didn't join today.
yeah, I started recording this.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, Sanjay, tell me, like, what's the problem you are facing?
Like I have given the I have edited the HTML content but unable to save.
Okay.
I
So
have
which editor you are actually trying?
sorry Anna.
So which editor, like Ubuntu editor, you're trying like Nano or VI or which one?
Nano.
So you're trying like Nano, right?
Mm.
So you can actually click like Control O and then Control S, I believe. Like so, still like you're getting issue.
Same.
Can
I'm
you
un-
share your screen and let me know? Sure. Yeah. Meanwhile, like any others, like did you actually face this issue? Any other issues?
Yeah, I faced it, Anna, but I searched it in Google and
Okay,
do
okay.
that.
So you're able to resolve that, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I'm in the directory like user local but unable to do that. Apache file.
So you're trying to Apache too? No.
Mm.
So you'll have like HT docs. You can get
HT
into HT docs, CD HT docs.
CD HT docs.
Mhm. So you can go there, do ls. So you'll have like index.html. You should edit this.
Next.
So I think like you cannot act. Yeah, you need to do that. Nidal, like you're able to do this.
Myself also same issue. So,
Okay.
like yeah, see that it works. After that, I didn't get anything. So I am also
Control
facing
low.
same.
So you should actually, yeah. Yes, you need to click Y.
Mhm.
Okay.
Nope.
So now you need to do Control X.
Control X.
Okay. Control X is not
Control
active.
O, then Control X, or
You
Control
need
X
to
or
say
Control
enter,
O.
click enter.
Click.
Control O, enter and Control X.
Okay.
But that doesn't change.
So
I
do
think you
Docker
didn't save.
PS. Yeah. Can you go to there? Can you go there? Like, can you do again like nano command?
Nano.
Okay, it got saved, right? Do
Mm.
exit.
Control X.
Okay, so go to another terminal, like another PowerShell command window. Do Docker PS. So you have like two containers. So one is actually run exposing this port 5566 to
Yes.
80. Another one you're not exposing any port.
No. Mm.
So in which one like did you actually edit?
It's 5566.
5566, right? Can you just
Mm.
show me the port number you are using in the browser? Okay, can you refresh it? Control F5. So I think like you're not editing this one, like 5566. You're editing like another one.
Okay. I'll check and I'll let you know.
No, okay, okay. Okay. So can you go to this documentation since you're sharing the screen? HTTPD official, the first tab in your browser. Or else I'll do that. Okay. Just on. Can you stop sharing?
Sure. Okay.
So you're able to see my screen, right?
Yeah.
Yes, son.
Yes, Pavan.
Okay. Since I mentioned like in the starting classes itself, like so you'll get like all the information that is required for making use of this Docker images. Okay, in the documentation itself, like here, like you can actually see. So HTTPD image, the image only contains HTTP for the upstream. There are no PHP installed and so on and so forth. If you want to run a simple HTML server, add a simple Docker file to your project where public HTML is the directory containing all your HTML files. Okay. So here, like what he's actually doing, like he's copying the content of this. So we'll see this shortly. Okay. So he's copying the content from here. Like, so from this, like you can actually understand that this is the place where like you'll have all these HTML files present. Okay. So we should actually make sure that like, so we go through this document properly and then identify like any changes like which are required. Okay. So in any issues or anything like any questions related to some of these commands like which we saw in the past?
No, no,
No.
No, no.
no.
Okay, so we saw this run image, name the container, and then the port exposing, and then map all ports. This is starting a container in the background, like -d option. So this we'll see later. Okay, this one also. Now let's focus on this. Okay, so we also saw this like so entry point like minus running in the IT -IT minus this one. So let's see like how to map a local directory to the container and what is the necessity of mapping a local directory to the container. Okay. So since I mentioned like, so since I was actually asking you, so what did we do to in order to run this particular HTTPD, what we did? So in order to run this HTTPD, what I did? So Docker run.
Image ID.
Yeah. So minus
Minus
IT
IT.
Minus IT image ID.
and image ID. This is the image ID.
Image ID.
/bin/bash.
Bash.
So this will start the container and this will actually take me into the container like, okay. So you can see like, so by default, like this is the folder like it, which it went to. Okay. So we'll do ls and then so we have like cd ht docs.
State docs. Okay.
ls okay nano index.html. Okay, nano is not there, so I should install. So
You need to update
apt
apt.
get update. So
Update.
this is to update like the Ubuntu kernel, Linux kernel. Any packages like Linux packages, not the kernel. So after that, like I'll do apt get install
Nano.
nano.
No. Any package we need to install before that we need to update, right?
Yeah, so usually like we need to update before install. So not required for each and every package, I believe. Like so for the
Okay,
first time, like we'll do an update and then we
Okay.
can run a new one.
Okay.
So now nano index.html. Control O and then
Control X.
Control X. Okay. So the problem with this command is, so I'm not exposing the port when I'm running this command.
Yes, sir.
If you see
PS.
Docker PS, so I'm not exposing the port. So obviously this will actually
Default.
fail. Okay. So let's see if I can actually use any of this command to expose the port. Docker, I think like we should actually, yeah. So let me stop this container. Okay, so I'll run it like, so what I need to do, I need to expose the port. Exposing the port -P. So some port on my host machine 8090 and then 80 on the host machine on the container. So this is my port which I want to expose on my host machine, and this is the container port. APT update. Okay, so this is actually running. Docker PS 8090 is the port which I'm exposing. Did I do anything wrong?
I think you exit the container. Pavan.
No, it is still running.
So
It's not required to exit the container.
okay.
Once we can restart the container if you need.
I suspect like 8090 is some restricted port.
Maybe by default it's taking HTTP.
So I'm just thinking it is some default port. me try with another port. So let me check these logs. Docker logs is the command, and then we should provide the container ID. Okay, let me do one thing. I restarted my machine after some updates. I'm not sure like if that actually messed up with something. So I was talking about this Docker playground, right? So you can make use of this. It is working. It's like the previous ports which I'm using might be they're reserved or so I'm actually pointing to them. So this one is not actually working.
I also did, but it won't work. I used 336 port.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm not sure like why this port is actually working 8081. Ideally it should work, but it is actually throwing some issue. So I'll get inside this container. Docker exec minus IT.
Container ID or
ID
image
/bin/bash.
Yeah.
cd doc.
Apt hit update. Man. HP docs. Yes. Okay, so let's ignore these errors, and I think like we wasted a lot of time. So we see that like we are able to run this 808001 and then 80 port, right?
Yes, Pavan.
So that is where like we had all this. The default container is actually running. Okay, so now let's see like what is the use of this particular command like -v mapping a local directory into the container. Okay, so every time like when I want to edit this particular file, so what am I doing? So I'm just copying the, I'm just getting into this container using like exec, or at the time of run like I'm specifying like -it and bin bash. Right, so that is after that, like I'm getting inside the container, there I'm editing all these files. Right. So just to avoid that, like what you can actually do is like you can actually map your local folder. Okay. So let me create a folder over here. Okay. So my HTML. So I'll create a HTML file over here. HTML. Okay. So I just created this particular HTML file, right? So what I'll actually do now is, so I'll open my PowerShell over here, open Windows terminal. So I'm inside this container like Docker directory, or you can just copy this thing. So now I'll run Docker command, Docker run command. So this time, like what I'll try to do is like, so I'll try to mount my volume. So -v. So this is the command like -v. And then so you should specify your host directory, like the directory which you want to map in the host directory and the directory to which you want to map it. Okay. So I want to map this particular directory like Docker Kubernetes. My HTML. So I want to map this directory to so HTTPD, right? So I would like to map this to this particular directory. Okay.
Image ID.
Yeah, I specified the image ID.
So where is the image ID there?
Docker run -IT -t port number and then okay.
bin .bin అది ఉండాలన్నా అవసరం లేదు.
No. So the format itself, like Windows format, like it is not actually taking.
Okay.
Or else like you can actually use so this is actually giving this path, right? I just went into this particular thing. Okay. So I'm just taking a shortcut. Like, so I went inside this folder, like, and this PowerShell in PowerShell, like dollar of PWD, what it does is like, so it will take this current directory. So what my intention is also same, right? I want to map the files in this directory to this particular location, like http docs. Okay.
Yeah.
Now let's do like Docker PS 8002. This is the container running, right? I'll do one thing. Docker exec -it. I'm trying to get inside this container. /bin
/bash.
okay, cd http docs.
HD docs.
Okay, so you can see like okay. So the files like which I created, so all the files in my folder, like they are present over here. So if I'll create a new file, okay, so I'm just creating this BB file in my local. Now let's do ls. So you can see like this file is already copied. So I'm inside this container, right?
Yes, sir.
So this file is already copied. Now what I can actually do, so I can simply switch under 8002, right? This is the test file. Test file B. So it is not required for me to get inside this container. Okay, so I can just exit from here. So the container is still running, right? 8002. Okay. So I'll edit here itself, like in my host machine itself, like I'll edit. Here itself, like I'm able to edit, right? Okay. So previously, like if I want to do the same thing, like what I did, so I went inside this container and then I installed this nano there, like I edited this particular file, like, or I need to create this file and then I need to make any change over there. But this is the simple and easy way. Like, so what you can actually do, so you can use this command like docker run -v and the host directory and then the target directory. With Windows, like, so there is a problem, like, I mean, so I need to find the right command. So I'm not able to use the path name directly over here. But instead, like I'm for now, like for the sake of this demo, like I'm just using like $pwd, which gives the current directory in PowerShell. Okay. $of pwd. So you see this, right? So this is actually giving me the current directory. So I'm mapping this current directory to the directory that is present inside the container. So what is the command like I was using? So docker run, and this is the old command docker run -d, and then I'm exposing this port 800280, and then I'm using like -v option, like, okay. So in the -v, like this is the directory on your host machine. Like, so in my laptop, like I want to point this directory like d personal docker so and so my HTML folder to this directory. Okay. So it is actually copying all the content that is present inside this folder into this directory like http docs. Hope you got it right. So,
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
Prabhu.
or any questions? So this is actually like volume mounting. Okay, so directory mapping. Okay, so what we can actually do, so we can actually take like if we want to copy some content or if we want to point some code which is present on your host machine. So inside this container, so this is how like we actually use it. Okay, so this is one of the options. So when can we use this option? Like, so when is this useful? Ideally, like what we do. So if I have a project like which consists of all these web applications or all multiple HTML files. Okay, so you're running this, you're part of the development team and you have one base container. Let's take an example of HTTPD container itself. Like, okay, so you have hundreds of these HTML files. And now, so previously, like what you need to do, so you need to copy this file or you need copy all these files or you need to copy all this content over there. Okay. So once you copy the content, like if you want to edit this content, like you should manually get into the container and then edit this files, which is obviously like a tedious task, time consuming one, right? So that is the reason why like what we do is like, so we get the latest code, like we get the code onto our machine and we point a specific directory, like we mount this particular specific directory into the Docker containers. Okay. And any changes like which you make in the code, so it obviously gets reflected in the Docker container. That is the advantage of volumes. So any doubt related to these volumes? I mean, so the use case, or is it not clear?
Can you repeat it again? Can you repeat it again? The use case.
Okay. So ideally, like what did we do? Like, so if I wanted to have this aa.html file inside the container and you don't know about this volume option, okay, how will you do this? So you'll run this container like HTTPD container, and then you'll go to this particular folder. Like, so which folder you'll go? So you'll go to this folder like user local Apache 2 HT docs, and there like you'll create this file, right? aa.html, and you'll paste the content over there, copy the content or write the content over there. So in order to do that, like you need to get inside this container, and then after getting inside this container, so you need to install Nano, all those required packages, and then finally, like you need to add a new file like a.html and add content over there. So this is like a tedious job. Let's say like you have hundreds of files which you need to work on regular basis. Okay. So the same way, like you have these many files. Okay. All these files. So you might need to change one of this file, and you need to create a new file or delete the content of a file or delete a file or edit a file. Okay. Some as a part of your daily job, like let's assume that this is a HTML application, like web application. So if you actually if you need to either like you need to create all these files over there. So which is a tedious job, right? Another option like which you have is, so I'll just show that. So another option is the copy command, like, okay. So the copy. No. Yes. So I'll run another container. Okay. Docker run -d. And then so I already have this existing running container, right? So this is a plain container like which I run. I'll make use of this Docker cp. You can see this command like, so if you want to copy file from a container to the host. Okay. So what am I supposed to do? So Docker cp, the container, and the container ID is nothing but. So I want to use this second one, this one. So in this container, like, so where exactly I want to copy? I want to copy the content into this directory. So before that, like I'll get inside this container and I'll show you like this doesn't have that file. So you can see like we have only index.html, right? So now I'm trying to copy a file. So copy, what's the command, like the source, and then I want to copy index.html into this folder. A.html into this particular folder. Okay, so it got copied. Now let's see like ls to ls. So you can see like a.html, it got copied, right? So similar way, like I'll copy bb.html. So I can do like ls. Okay, so bb.html is copied. So here, like you might be confusing, like so in this PowerShell window, like I'm doing a copy into the container A6105. And then in my other PowerShell window, so I already logged into this particular container, got into this container A610, this container. So I'm doing an ls operation after executing the copy operation. Okay. So you can see that like these files are copied, a.html and bb.html, right?
Yep.
So what is this? This is A616055. A61055 is nothing but like port 8001. So port 8001. Okay, so I got this command like AAA1 kind of. Okay. So I'll try to, so since I'm working in the development environment, like I need to continuously make these changes in this file. I'll delete these files, some of these files, just to avoid confusion. What I need to do, so every time like I need to make changes and then test it. So I made a change to, I made some change. Okay. So now let me try to execute this file. So and what do you think the result will be? Any guess?
It will come with the changes and it will affect it, I think.
No, the
We
same
mount.
result.
No, no.
So can you just repeat? Like I'm not able to hear. Hello.
No. It will
Yeah.
get
So what do you think the result will be?
If we save here, it will get changes from this.
Okay. So you think like the changes gets reflected, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Not reflected, I think.
It is not actually reflected. Okay. The reason behind this is so you actually copied the file. Okay. So this is not actually mounting, like it's not like volume mounting. Like, okay, so it's just like a one-time copy. You copied like a.html, the old version of the a.html file. Okay. So it doesn't actually reflect every time, like when you make changes, so it doesn't get reflected here, like, okay, in our container. Understood? So, but that is not the case with volume. So in volume, so it actually like, so it makes like whenever like you make a change in the host, so the file also gets changed in the container. Okay. So now let me execute this. So this is actually a volume mounting 8002, and this is just a copy. So 8003, right? See here, like it gets reflected. So since this is a volume
file,
we are mounting it. Okay. So, but here, like it is not the case, like we are manually copying it. So hope you understand this, right? You understood this.
yes, Pavan.
Yes.
So volume -v option is the most used option. Okay, so basically like whenever in the development environments, like so whenever like so this is mainly used in the development environment. Okay, So you don't actually copy the code into the container every time. Okay, so you'll have the code on your host machine and you'll make changes, like you'll mount that particular code into the Docker container using like -v option. So whenever like you make a change in the wall in your local host machine, so these file changes, like the changes you made in the code, so they automatically get reflected on the container. Okay, but that is not the case with the CP. So it's clear, right?
Yes.
Sana.
Okay. So we saw these commands like rm stop stop. Now we also saw this cp command like, so in order to copy a file from a container to the host, so you should use this option, like you should specify the container ID and then whatever the path file name you want to copy into the target. The target is nothing but like your laptop, like your host machine. Okay, so you can specify the directory over here. So we saw the vice versa, like so we copied a file like a.html from our host machine into the container, correct? So this is the command like which we used, docker cp. Since I'm this folder like html, my html folder, like I copied like bb.html present inside this folder like my html into this container, the container name. This is the container name. And where exactly did I copy? So into this folder, into this specific folder inside the container. Okay. So is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So Docker exec -it, we also saw this, like, so how to get inside this container. So in order to rename a Docker container, like any existing container, just you can use this command like Docker rename command. Okay, so now let's see another command, another important command, or so create an image out of container. Okay. Um, let's say like I have this container, CL, Docker. Will delete all these containers. Docker rm -f. Okay. Dollar Docker ps -a -q. Want to delete all the containers. Minus a -q. So you remember this command, right? So if you want to delete all containers, like both running and stopped commands, stopped containers. So I'm doing like Docker rm -f, and usually like we provide like a single container ID or container name. But since I want to delete like a bunch of containers, like so that are in the stopped state as well as like running state. So this Docker ps -a -q. So this will output like all the container IDs, and I'm deleting them. So one of the basic things like which we saw with the containers is, so they run isolated. Okay, so any changes like which you make in one container create. So let's say like I have a HTTPD image. Okay, so I'm creating a container like 3 different containers. And if you install like Nano in one container, so the Nano, it doesn't actually get installed in other two. Okay, since they're actually in isolated mode. So you need to get into each of these containers and then install the software, like all the required, the Nano software, right? So that is one of the challenges like which we faced, right? So we need to install, get into each of these containers, and then you need to manually install Nano and any required changes you are making in the container. Okay. So now let's see a few commands. Docker run. Mm, So I'm running this HTTPD and exposing the port 8002. Yes. 800. I went inside this container and then I actually wanted to install this software like apt get install update. So after that, like I'm doing apt get install. Sorry, nano. So I installed nano, right? So if I kill this container or if I stop this container and if I again like create another container HTTPD container, so this nano installation, it is not getting persisted, right? So it is every time like it is actually going off. Do you agree with that?
Listen.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, Anna.
Yeah, if I create another container, so I need to again like install nano inside that container, right? So what I can actually do is like, so in this case, like, so basically like if I make any changes in the container, like large number of changes or any changes inside the container. So what I can simply do is like, so I can persist this container, like I can actually do like Docker commit, create a new image out of the existing container. Okay. So I'll do Docker commit and then the container name. Okay. The container name is Docker. Now let's do Docker PS. Okay. Docker images. So you can actually see there is a new command, that new image that got created. Okay, out of this thing. I'll again do that. Okay. So I'll delete some of these images so that I can again show it to you, demo it to you. So I have like only two images, like Docker. I'll also remove this. Okay, so I have only one image, like HTTPD image, right? So what did I do? Like Docker commit, Docker PS. So I just wanted to create an image out of this particular container, running container. Docker commit. To help. So Docker commit, like I want to create a container out of this particular container, image out of this container, right? So this is the container name and then the repository and tag name. So I want to do httpd underscore. So I installed nano, right? So I'll just rename, I'll have this name as like httpd underscore nano. This is the image name. Now let's do Docker images. So you can see like httpd nano, this is the image that got created. Now let me run this particular container. Okay. Run it minus t minus it. And then I'll not expose any port. So since the purpose is not to expose a port here, minus it, and this is the image like which I want to run, right? httpd underscore nano. And then slash bin slash bash. Okay. So now let's do nano. So you can actually see nano is installed, right? This is because like, so I'm creating like, so in the in the past, what I did, so I took this HTTPD image. So I ran this particular HTTPD container image, and then in the container like that was created from this particular image. So I installed the Nano. Okay. And after that, like I created a new image out of this container. Okay. So now when I run this particular container, like it is actually having Nano. So is this clear?
We committed already. We did that container, right?
So your voice is a bit low, Raju. I'm not able to hear you properly.
Anna, once repeat commit command.
Okay. So commit is nothing but like, so one second. I'll delete this file and then I'll show the demo again. So HTTPD Nano. I'll remove this image. Okay, so this is my HTTPD container, right?
Yes.
Docker images. And I have only one image like .httpd, and using this HTTPD image, like I created a container, and this is the container which got created, right? So what I'll do is like, so I'll get inside this container. Okay. So I'll go to cd history docs. So you see, like I have only one file, right? I'll create few files. Touch a.html. Touch bb.html. cc.html. Okay. So where am I making these changes? So I'm making all these changes inside the container.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Right. So I just got into this container and then I'm creating all these files. A, B, C. Okay, so you can see these files, right? So if I stop this container and if I start another container from HTTPD image, so do you think like these files will be persisted?
No.
No.
No. So that is because like these containers, they operate in isolation. So any changes like which you make in the container, they are not reflected in another container which is created from the same image. That is clear, right?
Yes.
So,
Pavan.
but what I wanted to do is like, so any changes that I made that I make inside this container, okay? So I want to persist them.
Okay.
So how can I persist them? So in order to persist them, so let's say like I created thousands of files and I installed like many softwares like left and right. I installed Redis, databases, whatnot. So many things I did in this container. And now I want to persist this particular image, okay, this particular container, all the changes which I made inside this container. So how do I do that? Okay, so for that, like what I need to do is like, okay, so I need to use, I can create a new image out of this container. Okay. So for that, like you need to use this command docker commit, and this is the container name and new underscore HTTPD underscore customized. Okay, so this is the image name which I'm giving. So since we made some customizations inside this HTTPD container, we installed Nano and we also created few files, right? So I'm just creating a new image out of this container. Okay.
Okay.
Now let's do Docker images. So now when I create a new container out of this new HTTP customized, so do you think like Nano will be installed and also all these three files which we created, they are present?
Son.
That's it.
Yes, Pavan.
Yeah. So that is the main purpose. Docker run -it. So I'm creating a new container from this image /bin/bash. No, history docs, ls. So you can see these files are actually present.
Yes.
Okay, so this is a way of creating a new image out of an existing container, running container.
Can you check if nano is present or not?
Yeah, I can do like nano index.html. So it is, I'm able to edit this, right?
Okay.
So it's just like GitHub. It's similar to GitHub, right?
Similar to GitHub in the sense like you're creating a new commit, like new image out of the container, like existing container.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
from the copy of a so from this copy of a container, like you're creating a new image out of it. Okay?
New image. Yeah.
Yeah. So, second. Okay. Okay. So that is the main advantage of this. Okay. So the commit message. So this is a commit command. So we already saw this like Docker pull, and then so now let's see like Docker push. Okay. So we saw Docker pull, right? So Docker push, this is the command like which is used to push an existing image into the Docker hub. Okay. For example, like Docker hub. Okay, so I have like few of these. So let's do one thing. Okay. So Docker push. So which one I wanted to do? I want to push this particular image, right? So I can simply use. So initially, like what you need to do is like you need to do something. You need to log in, Docker login. So since I already have my credentials registered, so the login got successful. But in your case, like if it is for the first time, so it will ask for username and password. So you can just provide them and then it will make you log in. So after that, like what you can do is like you can do like Docker push and then the image name. You'll get an error. So denied requested access to the resource is denied. So this is because like whenever like you want to push an image or something like that, so it should be in a specific format. Like okay, so it should be in a format something like this. So you need to your username. It should be in the format of something like this. So it is like your username hash image name. And if you have any versions for that particular image. So okay, so that should be the format like you should follow. So how do I do that? Like Docker rename image. Do we have any rename option for this thing? No such container. Okay. I'll do one thing. So this is the existing container, right? So I'll create a new image out of this Docker commit. Yes, for new image slash new underscore httpd one. Docker images. So you can see Docker push. See, it is pushing this particular image. So this is the format, like you should have like the username and then your image name. And if you have any version, so you can just specify the version. So Docker push is the command like which is used to push your existing like your images on your host machine to the Docker Hub. So now you can actually see like this you can do only if you have like Docker Hub account. So you can see like, so this is the new image that got created, right? So now if I want, so any one of you now you can actually use this image like Docker playground. I'll just show it in the Docker playground. Okay. So this is another nice tool like which you can make use of for learning. Sorry, it is not actually. So it is running out of capacity, it seems like. Okay, but any one of you, like if you have Docker installed on your machine, so you can just pull this image and then you can run it like. So that is regarding like Docker push. Okay. And we saw this command like Docker RMI images. And then in order to list all the images, so this is the command like which can be used. So Docker prune is nothing but like, so delete any unused images like, okay. So minus here. So if you want to, we'll see this in the next sessions. Like, so if you want to build a image from an existing Docker file, okay. So we'll see this later. So for today, like we'll just stop it here. Like, do you have any questions for me? Like, or anything like you want me to repeat?
So we have seen the copy command from the host to the container, right? So what if we want to copy only few files from one container to other container?
From container to container?
Yeah.
So from container to container, there is no option for that. Like, so you, what you need to do is like, so you need to mount these volumes, okay? And you can just share it in the local itself, like. I mean, so what you'll do is like, so in both the containers, like you can share the common directory, like whenever you're creating like two different containers. So you can use like same directory on the host machine. as and then you can mount that particular local directory, map that particular local directory in both the containers.
Okay.
Okay. So any changes created in that file, like any in those folders, like so they get automatically reflected in another container. Okay. Yeah. Any other questions? So we have another 2 minutes, like, so you can just let me know if you have any questions or if you didn't understand a specific concept. Like. Okay, then if no questions, then we can stop the session. Okay.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. Thanks for your time.
Thank
Bye.
you. Thank you.
Thanks, Pavan.
Thank you.